was in with intentions of harming his wife, shoots his wife. She is deceased.
Channel 11 at 5. A woman is dead and her husband is accused of gunning her down inside her place of work. Our top story tonight at 5, a deadly shooting at a dental office in the Colonial Heights community of Sullivan County this morning. Josh Smith joins us now live from the scene where that investigation is continuing. He begins our team coverage of this breaking news story. Josh.
Well, good evening, Sarah. It has been a terrifying and tragic day here in Colonial Heights. Right behind me, the office of Dr. David Guy, a dentist's office, where this morning, according to authorities, a woman got up, came to work, wanted to do her job. And it was during the morning hours that the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office said her husband came to this workplace and opened fire, killing her in her workplace setting. The suspect we know tonight is in the hospital. He was shot by a person in the dentist office who Sheriff Jeff Cassidy says acted heroically, and we're hoping to get some more information now from Sheriff Cassidy. He's joining us live here just outside the dentist office. Sheriff Cassidy, thank you for joining us live tonight. We appreciate it. We know that this is still an ongoing investigation. You are not, I understand, releasing the names of the people, the husband, the wife, or that person here today. Is that correct?
That's correct, Josh. Just pending notification. We'll release those names as soon as we can. Hopefully in the morning. Everybody will be notified that needs to be notified, but at this time we're just not notifying the names of the suspects, the defendant, victims, and the hero I call today that stopped this violent confrontation.
I want to ask you about him in a moment, but first, the woman who worked here, can you tell us anything about what she did here? Was she an employee, a technician, a clerk? What did she do here?
Yeah, I know she was an employee. I'm not sure if she's a hygienist, assistant. I'm not sure what role she played as an employee here at Dr. Guy's dentist office, but she was employed under Dr. Guy.
What led to this? Do you have any idea? Is there a history of domestic violence, orders of protection?
That's what we're working on. We're working on a motive to see if there's any court judicial systems like orders of protections, restraining orders, see if they was going through the divorce process, because that's something we still are unclear of. And like I say, that's more information I hope we have for everybody tomorrow.
The husband, the man who came here and shot his wife, he is alive tonight. Can you give us any information about how seriously he was wounded?
He was wounded. He's going through surgery. And like I say, that was the last thing I've heard, so I'm not sure how serious the gunshot wounds were, or and like I say, hopefully we'll have that information as well for you all. But he is going through surgery from those gunshot wounds.
His truck was parked here. It's gone now. Part of the evidence, I imagine. You've not spoken to him?
No, Josh, I haven't. I haven't spoken with him. He's at the hospital going through surgery. We have officers on standby with him because there will be charges placed, of course.
Do you have any idea what those charges would be?
That's still being worked with the District Attorney General, so I'm not going to release that at that time. That's something I could probably release to you this evening.
All of us have been to the dentist, and so I think every person watching tonight is trying to picture in their mind, what happened? Did this man walk in the door and just open fire from what you can tell? Did he go through the office? Did it happen in the lobby? Was this, and this is a tragedy for a family. Exactly. And I don't want to, we're not trying to pry, but we're trying to understand what happened here. Was it in the lobby? Was it back in the back of the building?
It was actually in the room where they do their dentistry work. So, there's employees back there, patients, just a tragic situation. And a lot of people, I'm sure, in distress right now, friends, co-workers. So, I'll be praying for them tonight, because we know how difficult it is to be in a confrontation like that, witness a scene like that, and, God bless them.
You spoke of this hero, and I haven't asked you about him yet, and I know you're not releasing his name as well tonight, but was this a patient here at the clinic this morning who opened fire and killed the person who came and shot his wife?
Exactly. He was a patient inside the office, and like I say, he reacted flawlessly under a stressful environment, legally a concealed carry permit holder, and he stopped that violent confrontation, held that, I'm going to call it defendant now, because we're going to have charges on him. held him until law enforcement responded. And I want to thank Kingsport City Police Department, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Tennessee Highway Patrol. Everybody stepped up and came to the scene with one goal in mind, and that's the protection of our innocent citizens and to stop a violent threat.
This man was here getting care. He had a weapon and a permit to have a weapon. He must have heard something or seen something, and then he jumped into action?
Then he reacted flawlessly. He, like I say, when your body reacts under stress, it's a whole lot different than, like when you're at a firing range and you're shooting a static piece of paper. It's not shooting back at you. You really don't know until you encounter a stressful situation like that. But like I say, everything I've heard, he was flawless in his execution, his stopping of the eliminating the threat, holding the threat down until law enforcement arrived, and we took custody. So, like I say, that's a pure hero in my mind, and God bless him. I know he's probably going through a lot of difficult times right now, but he did just an exceptional job and probably saved a lot of lives today.
Do you think the man who came here today and opened fire on, killed his wife, had one target? Do you feel like he had a specific target, or were other people in danger? How would you describe that?
I feel like he had one target, but I think if anybody intervened, there could have been a lot more loss of life or injuries, and that's where that citizen stepped in and eliminated the threat, took control of the scene. And I've even heard Dr. Guy in there put his body in front of a potential rounds being fired, and he's a hero as well.
Finally, when will this doctor's office stop being a crime scene? I know that this is a workplace for some people.
Exactly. I've talked to a couple detectives, and we're hoping to clear up within 2 to 3 hours here.
Anything else you want to add?
Like I say, it has been a tragic day. I'll be praying for all the families involved. You've got a deceased victim that was just working this day, and domestic violence is such a hard call for law enforcement to respond to, and it bleeds into the workplace sometimes. It bleeds into wherever the victim could be, and it's just a tragic situation all the way around. I'll be praying for the families of the victim, and praying especially as well for the hero today, because it's not an easy task to even do that in the midst of chaos. He stepped up and performed flawlessly.
Sheriff Jeff Cassidy, thank you. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.
Okay, Jordan Moore has been here. Thank you, Sheriff. Jordan Moore has been here through the day and was able to talk to the sheriff. You just heard the update from him tonight, a bit of new information coming in. Bring us up to speed on your reporting from here all day.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, earlier today when I spoke to Sheriff Jeff Cassidy at noon, he said the word hero multiple times. It was something he really wanted to reiterate in that press conference. And the reason he was saying that word is because the suspect reportedly came in to shoot his wife inside this dentist office. You just heard the details there. We're in Colonial Heights. And as you also just heard him say, there was a man in there with a carry permit. And that man is the one Sheriff Cassidy said deserves to be described as a hero because he stepped in, shot the suspect, and then waited on law enforcement to get there.
It's a citizen, concealed carry permit holder, that saw a threat, eliminated that threat, and stood by until law enforcement arrived, and did a really good job. Like I said, I want to thank him from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, and I want to call him a hero today.
And again, Josh, that is something Sheriff Cassidy wanted to thank this man again here tonight for doing what he did and stepping in a very, what you can only imagine is a very stressed and tense situation when you're watching as a bystander, and to step in and to do something like that and subdue the suspect until law enforcement arrived. He said it was just something he was very grateful for on behalf of the entire sheriff's office.
Jordan Moore, thank you. We appreciate it. Now, the tension that was felt here in this medical facility, in this office complex, this is very close, if you're familiar with Colonial Heights, to the turnoff to Warriors Path State Park. That nervousness spread into the neighborhood surrounding here. Our coverage continues now with Caroline Corrigan, who spoke with some of those people nearby.
Well, Josh, for many people in this area I spoke to today, they told me they locked their doors this morning when they first heard about this active shooter situation here at the dentist's office in Colonial Heights. And I spoke to the associate minister at the Colonial Heights Presbyterian Church, Shane Smith. He says they have 80 kids in their daycare program, which is just a few yards from where this shooting took place, which is why he told me they weren't taking any chances.
We just have procedures here of locking down. We have an outdoor playground. It's obviously a risk if kids are outside during a lockdown, so we bring them in, make sure all the doors are locked.
We've been on scene for the past few hours now, and many people have been driving by the scene telling me they are shocked by this news, saying overall this is a pretty quiet area and this news is disturbing. Josh?
Caroline Corrigan, part of our team covering this tragedy today here in Colonial Heights, and it is sadly a tragedy that plays out in communities, not just here, but all across our country. Domestic violence, if you talk to police or people who work in the field, they'll tell you it is all too common. And here are some numbers to really back that up. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 out of every 6 homicide victims in the United States are killed by a spouse or someone with whom they have an intimate relationship. The number of female victims, even higher, more than 40% of women killed in homicide cases are the victims of an intimate partner. Tonight, if you are watching this and you are in a domestic violence situation and you just know that you need some help, we're in your corner with some of that information, and here are some phone numbers. This could be the first step toward getting that help. These are domestic violence shelters in each of the Tri-Cities. Safe House Kingsport, Safe House Johnson City, and also Abuse Alternatives in Bristol. These are people who tonight are waiting to help if you need it. We'll bring you the numbers again during our broadcast this evening, and we'll post them up on WJHL.com.